And hello once more, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to episode 59 of A Druid's Dozen. My name's John. People call me the Rock Druid, and I'm a bit of a radio DJ. I've got a couple of radio shows. There's one on BCFM radio, 93.2 FM in Bristol, and there's the Rock Druid show on astroradio.earth. Links to both shows are going to be in the descriptions. That's going to be down there on YouTube, over there on Facebook. And yeah, and this video is just one of a series of me where I raid my record collection, which I've been collecting for many years, and it's quite large. I'll drag out a dozen of our albums, sort of at random, and just chat about them for a bit. So without further ado, shall we get moving with our first one? I think we should. We shall start off with a bit of this. Here we go. This is Come Out and Play by Twisted Sister, 1985. There is the front. There is the back. Pull this out. There are some lyrics. There's the Twisted Sister guys themselves. And for those that are interested, there's the disc. Get my glasses on before I check for a run out groove message. Got to come up with one soon. I've got plenty in the collection, I know. No, but once again, all this has is the catalogue number. Okay, and one other thing I've got to show you is, hold this up, it's got a pop-out Dee Snider on the cover. There he goes, hey! He comes out to play from underneath his sort of like manhole cover. One more. Yeah. Yeah, Twisted Sister's fourth studio album came out 1985. Now, some people claim, depending on what side of the fence you're on, this is either the last classic Twisted Sister album or the album that marks their start of the decline. I tend to be in the first camp. I do like this, although I can understand that Dieter Dirk's production gives it a bit of more of a commercial edge than the previous three albums, but I still think this has got a lot of miles in it. It's got a controversial cut in the what was it? Leader of the Pack, the old Shangri-La's cover, the opening cut on side one. You know, I like it. I think it works. I think it's quirky, but you know, yeah, I also admit that it's not classic Twisted Sister. Other highlights on here include the big US hit, Be Cruel to Your Skull, which is a bit of a kind of get your mates round for a jam type number. Guest lead vocal from Alice Cooper. You've got Billy Joel doing the piano on here, and I'm trying to think the guy's name, but the Bruce Springsteen saxophone player chipping in as well, making for a nice little kind of bit of a rock and roll party number, which also came with a really funny video. A lot of Twisted Sisters videos around here are worth watching for this era. Apart from that, other highlights on this include the title cut, Come Out and Play, which has got an intro which is a big tribute to the classic gangland action underground movie The Warriors. Come out and play with drinking bottles, etc. You got You Want What We Got, which what was the other one? Killer Be Killed. I Believe in Rock and Roll, Out on the Streets. Yeah, overall, I quite like this album. Mecca, I'll admit it maybe not their strongest, but on the other hand, it you know, it is still far superior than Love Is for Suckers in the Twisted Sister canon, and I still do like it. So our first one today, come out and play Twisted Sister 1985. Pretty good. Okay, next up we have our first CD, and something local to me. Here we go. This is Bad Jack and Other Stories by the Nasty Little Lonely. There is the front. There is the back. And there is the disc. Now, Nasty Little Lonely are a Bristol three-piece noise rock band. Featuring the husband and wife team of there's a girl called Charlie on bass and vocals. There's a husband whose name has just gone straight out of my head. I think it's David, but I may be wrong. On guitar, and they've got through a fair number of drummers over the years, but you know, but they're a three-piece noise rock band. Very, very good. I've seen these guys play quite a few times around Bristol, and they're still a very ongoing band. They've got a they used to go under the name Rock in Your Pocket, but so they became Nasty Little Lonely for some reason a few years ago. Brought out a whole string of EPs. Not sure if there's a full-length album from these guys around, but I know they got if they have, I haven't got it, but I do know they got a string of EPs out, of which this is one. This one comes from, I'll say about 2017, maybe, round about then. I was like, sonically, these guys are pretty good. They remind me a bit of Bauhaus. They got a little bit of what are they called? Talking Heads in there, maybe. Sort of like huge slices of bands like the Subways. But yeah, Charlie is a superb bass player. Sort of like a grungy Susie Quattro. Hubby on the lead guitar is a feedback merchant. His lead work, well, he doesn't do lead work, he builds up a wall of feedback and just plays with it expertly. You know, like the bloke from Bauhaus used to do. Overall making for a great sonic soundscape. On this one, Bad Jack and Other Stories, you got 4 tracks: Bad Jack, Throw Me a Bone, Blood on the Floor, and Machinery. I'm hard pushed to select an individual standout track because they're all much of a muchness. Although, if I remember rightly, Blood on the Floor is, if I really had to choose one, would be the one that I would go for. So, yeah, Bad Jack and Other Stories by the Nasty Little Lonely. About 2016, 2017. Very good band, and if you ever see them playing in a venue near you, go check them out. You will not be disappointed. Yeah, very good. Most of their stuff's available through through Bandcamp, by the way. Okay, next up, another bit of vinyl. There is the front. This is the McAuley Shanker group with Perfect Timing, 1987. There is the front. There is the back. Whip this out. there's the band themselves, credits and lyrics, and there is the disc, and once again just the catalogue number on the run out grooves. Yeah, McAuley Shanker group were basically a second incarnation of the Michael Shanker group. So I just need some liquids. Yeah, Michael Shanker group kind of fell apart, sort of like, would have been about 84, 85, after the, oh, what's the album I did the other week? Can't remember. Something about Destroy, Built to Destroy album. And then, as I did a live album after that, then kind of the band sort of fell apart. Michael Schenker relocated stateside and decided to have a different approach, more of a kind of structured MTV friendly approach. Whether that was him or whether that was the record company pressure, I don't know. Also I changed the label from Michael Schenker from Chrysalis to EMI, and but long story short, he put together a brand new band, and featuring Robbie McAuley there, former Grand Prix vocalist, amongst other various projects. Guy's actually just recently released a really good solo album, by the way, Robbie McAuley, on Frontiers. But anyway, I digress. Other guys include, I can't remember who was who, but I think it's Bodo Schorf was originally the drummer with German prog rockers Eloy. Mitch Perry and Rocky Newton, yeah, not sure who they're from, but you know, competent musicians, and this album's got a very nicely polished sound. It's very kind of US radio friendly, but for some reason the musicians he's got on here, they wear that sound slightly easier and more comfortable in the ears than the original MSG did when they tried it with the Built to Destroy album. And apologies to the guy that says Built to Destroy is his favourite MSG album, and this is, you know, hey, horses for courses, mate. I'm not going to slag you off for, you know, getting something out of a record I didn't. So, yeah, get that straight for a start. But anyway, this was the first album I did a string of about 3, maybe 4, I think it was. The biggest one was the follow-up to this that had a massive US air radio hit called Anytime, power ballad on it. This one, pretty slick, rock till you're crazy. There's a nice anthemic air puncher. Love is not a game, time, no time for losers, follow the night, here today, gone tomorrow, give me your love. It's pretty good. I got to admit, I still do prefer the earlier Michael Shanker group stuff to the McAuley Shanker group, but you know, this is not without its moments. You know, yeah, it may be slightly turned down, and some of Michael Schenker's guitar work may be slightly less atomic than some on those earlier albums, but you know, it's listenable. It's fine. I'll give it a good 4 out of 5 if I was going to give it a number. But anyway, oh, got hiccups here. Yeah, so not bad. Worth checking out if you're into Michael Schenker or into that kind of I'm trying to think, sort of Dokken type US metal. So yeah, McAuley Shanker group, perfect time in 1987. Okay, next up, we got some blues. Here we go. There is the front. This is Times Have Changed by Ronnie Barker Brooks. There's the back. Whip this out. There's the disc. Now, I think the original of this came with either a jewel case or a, what you call it, you know, fold out paper covers, but this is a promo, so there's a press release that came with it, so this is just a basic promo package in a basic cardboard sleeve. There's the front. There's the back. Right, now, Ronnie Barker Brooks, blues guitarist, came out of the ghettos of Chicago. One of these kind of very kind of musically talented families. His father was a renowned local blues player. His brother is also a renowned blues player, and I think there's a sister involved somewhere that's a soul singer. But yeah, been performing since about the age of about 8 or 9. Used to go and make on-stage appearances with his dad. Been solo for a good few years. String of albums out, of which this one came out in 2017. Very, very good album. He's got Mr. Baker Brooks has got this kind of style that kind of straddles kind of Chicago style blues with a big kind of almost like Detroit soul sound thrown in as well, just to kind of make it interesting. It's the sweet little 11 tracker. Some of these are colours of blues standards. Some of these are original material. Yeah, things to watch out for here include Give the Baby Anything the Baby Wants, My Old Love, Twine Time, Times Have Changed, the title cut, Show Me, Wham Bam, Thank You Sam. Yeah, really sweet. The guitar, his lead work is superb. The whole, so it's got this kind of blues soul fusion feel to the whole album. Sadly, this is the only album I possess by Ronnie Baker Brooks. I keep promising myself to check out more, and I'm going to use waving this CD in front of you now, an excuse to, you know, I'll go and check out some more over the next couple of days. But yeah, highly recommended if you like a bit of blues or you like a bit of sweet guitar playing. Ronnie Baker Brooks, Times Have Changed, 2017. Okay, next up, I something like this. This is the Playn Jayne, Friday the 13th, live at the Marquee Club. There's the front. There's the back. Don't think I've got an inner sleeve in here. Yeah. Rip this out. A&M Records. And once again, just the catalogue number on the run out, Bruce. Playn Jayne are a really interesting band. They kind of came out of the meeting of a number of movements out of London in the late 1970s. When did this album come out? Oh, I can't think. Can't see. Let's go back to the disc itself. 1984, this came out. Playn Jayne came out of a number of different, I say conflicting, but various kind of London movements. They got big slices of the old London pub rock scene on them for a start. You know, scene that gave us bands like Dr. Feelgood, the Pirates, 9 Below Zero, etc. They've also kind of got a fair bit of the mod revivalism in them. You know, hints of bands like the Parkers, the Lambrettas, even hints of the Jam. Then you've also got a big psychedelic streak, you know, referencing sort of like some of the hippier moments of bands like the Kinks as well. Thrown together into a rather interesting blend that features twin lead vocals from guys called Mick Jones and Craig Lindsay, backed up by a three-piece power trio band of Nick Jones, who I think was brother of Mick, on the guitar, Errol Suleiman on bass, and a guy called Clive Francis on drums. Now, these guys formed in the late 1970s and plugged away on the London Underground, but not the Tube, although they may have done a bit of busking, but on the London Underground for a good few years, building up a very, very solid reputation. You know, and I can remember seeing these guys, never seen them live myself, but just watching them, seeing them in the music press being hailed, first of all, with magazines like, because I was living in London at the time, bands like Time Out calling them the best band in North London, and then the best band in London, and then bands like, and magazines like NME hailing them as the best live band in the country. These guys had a live reputation that was fearsome, and they eventually got some record label interest, got snapped up by A&M Records, and released this in 1984. Decided to bring out a live album as their debut album because of the band's fearsome live reputation. And this is a corking album. Yeah, okay, it may not score very highly with the metalheads, but you know, most other people out there, there's going to find something on here that'll be find very enjoyable. But the opening cut, "You Weren't Born, You Were Created," is a kind that comes out as a mission statement for the rest of the record, that demands that you listen. Let's have a look. There's Bits of Gold, Crystal Ball. I'm the Only One for Me. Pleasant Surprise, The Rocking Hearse. It's just a great rock and roll album. One of the great live albums as well. Sadly, the band didn't last long after this. They brought out a studio album, which apparently they were very disappointed with, and decided to call it quits not long afterwards, never to be seen again. So a couple of the guys are now sadly no longer with us, and so the band kind of are no more. But, you know, if you can say anything about the Playn Jayne, they left behind a corking live album that I don't think this is available on, never been issued on CD. I have seen some vinyl rips on the net though, or you can go hunting through your record fairs for a vinyl. But hastily recommend that you do at least some way check it out. There's also a digitised stream up on YouTube as well, so that might be worth having a look at. Yeah, Playn Jayne, Friday the 13th, live at the Marquee Club, 1984. Corking record. Okay, next up we'll have something that's, well, not new release, but new to a collection. I only picked this up the other day whilst passing a local charity shop. Yeah, this is Sawdust by the Killers. Came out in, I was going to say 1984, 2004, sorry. I'll double check. But anyway, there's the front. There's the back. Pop this open. That's what they have behind the disc. There is the disc. Whip this out. Right, there's the back of the booklet. Centre of the booklet folds out thusly along like that. Then you got credits, etc. (2007), sorry, this came out, that's right. Folds out like that, yeah. Now, Killer's kind of one of those kind of US sort of like heavy indie bands, heavy alt rock outfits. I think they did, that was the Monster, one of their big hits, but yeah, been around for a while, got a string of albums out, and this is a outtakes and B-sides compilation. It says here, new tracks, B-sides and rarities, 2003 to sorry, tired, I've been up watching the Olympics. Yeah, all sorts of interesting cuts and outtakes here. So there's B-sides, there's unreleased material, there's rare radio sessions, a couple of re-recorded songs, new recorded songs. Opens up with a cut called Tranquilise, with a special guest from Lou Reed. Now, I'll admit I'm not the world's biggest Lou Reed fan, but put it this way, Lou Reed and the Killers make for a better combination than Lou Reed and Metallica ever did. Other highlights on here include a cut called All the Pretty Faces, which I think was a B-side from one of their early singles, and it's probably the heaviest thing the Killers ever did. It's almost into Metallica, AC/DC territory. It's a metal number, proving that the Killers are a damn good rock band. You know, there's glamorous indie rock and roll, which is quite a quirky little rock and roll number, obviously. There's a great version, I think it was a BBC radio session, of the Dire Straits' Romeo and Juliet on here, which is a rather nice surprise, and they do a cracking job of it. A huge, great big long remix of their big single, Mr. Brightside, which goes on forever. It's okay, it's a bit dancey. Yeah, but overall, I picked this up, realised it was a compilation, thought, oh, there's some tracks in here I haven't got, because I've got a couple of the Killers albums now. And I thought, right, I'll give it a listen. And overall, kind of found this very, very enjoyable. Yeah, it can be a bit hit and miss in places, but definitely more hit than miss. Yeah, I wouldn't say that this is typically a typical Killers album, because it's not. It's a outtakes album, but it's worth exploring. Yeah, that's it. Really worth exploring. The Killers, Sawdust, 2007. Okay, next up, have some hang on a minute. No, that's it. We've got this next. This is The Magic Box by Ebony Tower. There is the front. I'd have to check, see if I can find out when this came out. I think around about 2011, but I'm not sure. There's the front. There is the back. Pop this open. 2012. Sorry. There is the disc. Apologise, it's a bit dark in here. I'll try mucking out the lighting, but you know, we've had, at the time of recording, we've had sort of like a week of scorching hot red hot sunshine, followed by a day of distinctly overcastness. Anyway, there's how the booklet folds out with the credits. There's the lyric sheet there. And lo and behold, there's a press release. Right, curved out on that magic box. I think they came out of Cambridge or that part of it, of the eastern side of England, and I think these guys are still going. I may be wrong, but sadly this is the only thing I actually possessed by the band, although they are several other releases out here, out by them. These guys are prog rock. Think the prog rock in the style of Jethro Tull, Curved Air, maybe a little bit of the kind of Jefferson Airplane psychedelia thrown in. Just really kind of sweet, female fronted, a little bit of folky maybe, yeah, hints of the Elf Airport conventions, and this is a EP, let's say a little 4-track EP they brought out. Yeah, and it isn't kind of long extended widdly guitar solos. All the tracks on here, I think the longest one's 4.5 minutes. They're all within that kind of time frame, 3 to 5 minutes long. You got The Passing, The Labyrinth, my favourite cut on here, LSD, which is a kind of world trippy number, no pun intended, and The Mirror. It's just sweet. It flows, it bops. You've got Sky Sheridan, who's the violinist, superb fiddler. Wilson McQueen, the guitarist, again very, very noteworthy. And who's the vocalist again? Yeah, Zandra King, sort of hippie chick singer, vocalist type person. Makes you a sweet listen. These guys, I don't know if they still are, but they were huge favourites at the old Cambridge Rock Festival, and yeah, and I've never seen them live myself, although that's something I do intend. If they're still going, I'm going to rectify it one day, because also we'll get some more or less stuff, because this one is really sweet and I do like it lots, and I highly recommend it to anyone that likes a bit of the old Jethro Tull prog rockisms. Good stuff indeed. Okay, next up we'll have this Raven. The pack is back, and this one is from 1988 to 86. Anyway, there's the front. There is the back. Whip this out, no inner sleeve. And there we are, just Atlantic Records there. If you just check the release date, it should be on the disc here somewhere. 1986. Now, the other episode or two back, I mentioned Raven's All for One album, and said that was their last of the great Raven albums before they made the big mistake of trying to go stateside. This is the result of that big mistake of Raven going stateside. I'll show you the back. There's the front. There's the back. Terrible album cover. What are we going to do? I mean, look. I mean, one of the Gallagher brothers there is dressed up as a premature ejaculation. He's cum in his pants. Yeah. That really is probably one of the best things about this album. It's horrible. It's clunky. This is a band that are the ghost of a band they were just a mere 3 or 4 years earlier. They took the MTV bullet. They got signed up by an American management company, got signed to Atlantic Records, whipped them off to the States, and I think this is the second or third of the albums they brought out over there. and each one is slightly worse than the others. Yeah, what was a really gritty, young, angry, hungry, British heavy metal band, they've tried to change into a wannabe Poison, they tried to make him into a silly glam hair metal band. The production stinks. There's, put it this way, there's a track on here which is a cover of the old Spencer Davis song "Give Me Some Lovin'," probably best known later years as being song from the Blues Brothers. Give me some lovin', bam 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 bam. That one. They murder it. It's clunky. It just doesn't work. Get into your car is a bad attempt to be Twisted Sister. Screaming the house down, Youngblood Hyperactive. It just, listen. We hear it overall and you think this is just a pretty average sort of like hair metal record. You listen to it, then you realise it's Raven, and you realise it's a piss poor hair metal record. It took Raven a fair while to recover. I think it was Nothing Exceeds Like Excess, which came out a good 5 years later, which was their start of stepping back into musical credibility. I don't know if the band themselves regret this period. I regret buying this album and I only keep it in the collection for completion because I've got most of the Raven releases, and this just kind of keeps the numbers up. But I rarely play it. I span it the other day while I was preparing for this, and it's not going to get spun again for a long time. Yeah, Avoid Like the Plague, The Pack Is Back, Raven from 1986. Okay, next up we'll go to Canada and we'll have this one. This is Love and Fury by Headstones. There is the front. There is the back. Credits behind the disc with a picture of the Headstones doing their thing live. There is the disc. Rip this out. There's a kind of fold out thing there, photo montage and credits on that side. And pop this out. There's the press release that came with it. Headstones, Canadian hard rock, alt rock, post punk, just overall pretty damn good rock band. Came out of Canada. I want to say Alberta, but not sure. Oh, 2013 this one got released. Came out in the 1990s. Called it quits around about the turn of the millennium, and then did a reformation, and this was the comeback album, and they're still going to this day. Just a sweet record. Good, fun, head-banging hard rock, sort of like hard alt rock album, post-punk album. However you want to describe it, it's just sweet. Cuts on here, is it Long Way? Standout cuts on here for me include Long Way to Neverland, Don't Follow the Leader, Astronaut, Out of My League, SOS, etc. Just overall a pretty damn groovy record. So I'm going to need to get the booklet out, so I can't. Line up on here, you got a Hugh Dillon vocals with a bit of harmonica thrown in, which gives it a bit of a kind of interesting sound. Trent Carr does some great guitar work, both lead and rhythm, including the performances of No on, I think it's a track SOS on here. Maybe wrong, I can't remember. I played it once this morning, but getting a bit pushed for time. Then you've got the bass rhythm section of Tim White, Dale Harrison. I'm going to use the old cliche, tight as a duck's backside, and lay down a rock solid foot in for the rest and let rip on. Just pretty sweet record. A lot of the Headstone stuff is worth checking out. So I would say that this is a good album to start with, because it's quite representative of what the band do at their best. 2013 Headstones, Love and Fury. Okay, next up we'll have another live album. There is the front. This is Live Tonight by the Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. There's the front. There is the back. There's the gatefold. Bob Seger and Co. giving it rice. And I'll whip these out one at a time. You've got pictures. Thus. There we are, Capitol Records. And 1981 this came out. And then more live pictures. Bob and the boys doing their thing. Again, Capitol. Capital, old chap, Capitol. Now, I make no bones about the fact that I'm a huge Bob Seger fan. When it comes to that kind of what the Americans call blue collar rock, Bob Seger to me is better than Springsteen. He is the bee's knees when it comes to that kind of stuff. Recorded in his hometown of Detroit and Boston throughout various times in 1980. This just throws together a sweet live performance. The performances on here are electrifying. They are high energy, they're passionate, they're powerful, and basically it kind of it is a best of live set. There's nothing, no bones about that. There's no kind of out of the field covers of kind of 1930s work, jazz ballads or anything like that. This is Bob Seger, track after track of rock and roll. The track songs just bumble by. You got the track listing: Nine Tonight, Hollywood Nights, Old Time Rock and Roll, Fire Down Below, Her Strut, Fire Lake, Betty Lou's Getting Out Tonight, We've Got Tonight, Night Moves, Rock and Roll Never Forgets, Let It Rock, and a couple of others. Just every single one's a Bob Seger classic. They're a bit rough around the edges, but what do you expect from a live album? This is what live music should be about. It's something we've all been missing during the lockdown. but something that, you know, should be experienced, should be taken on. If you've not really heard Bob Seger and realised why people like me keep raving about him, this is a really good album to pick up and start with. Yeah, okay, some of the performances may not be as polished as they are on some of his studio albums, but to me, this is what makes Mr. Seger and the Silver Bullet Band great. Yeah, can't recommend this highly enough. 1981, 9 Tonight, Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. Corking live record. Brings on to our last CD and a little bit more indie rock. There we go. This is Replenished by Reef from 1998. Is it 96? Might be 95. I don't know. My God. The printing on the back of this cover down there is too small even for my glasses to pick up. I should have got a magnifying glass or even a microscope on this one. Something that annoys me. CD covers with microscopic writing. You know, it's we're not all you know, 16-year-olds with perfect 20/20 vision, you know. But anyway, there's the front. There's the back. There's behind the disc. There is the disc. Pictures of Reef and lyrics. Yeah, Reef, in case you don't know, band out of Glastonbury. Came through on the tail end of the Britpop movement, but Reef never really were Britpop. They were more kind of heavy alt rock. Remember seeing them around about the time this album came out, primarily because the support band was a band called Feeder. Or maybe a bit later than this, I can't remember. But anyhow, the first time I saw Reef live, they had Feeder in support, and I went down primarily to see Feeder because I've been watching these for a while. You know that I'm a huge Feeder fan. And overall, yeah, Reef, I encountered them a few other times at festivals and that over the years. And, you know, although they've never been a band I'd rave about, they were a band I've always respected, both studio and live. I do have this, I have Glow as well in the collection, which is probably their slightly better known album. But this, I think, I remember right, is their debut. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please do correct me if I'm ever wrong. And it's pretty damn good. You got tracks on here like Feed Me Naked, Mellow, Choose to Live, Loose End. Just makes for some great music. Just really good listening. I'm not going to turn around and say I find this album earth-shattering. I'm not going to say I'm the world's biggest Reef fan because, you know, I do tend to find they can be a bit samey at times. But, you know, I'll give them their due. They're very good at what they do. And I don't find them unlistenable. So, yeah. Maybe try before you buy, but Replenished by Reef from 1990, whenever. Yeah. Worth a look. Okay, we're going to end up today on something a little bit odd. Here we go. Rock and Roll Prophet by Rick Wakeman from 1982, I think it was. I'll check on the sleeve in a minute. There is the front. there is the back. Yeah, 1982. Oh, we have a run out message. This one says, for Twit and Daniel on that side, and oh, I can't quite catch that one. Something about if it is on that side, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I say if you want to look for the get a vinyl record, you've got to hold it up for the light. Sometimes you can see a little message etched into the run out groove around there. Yeah, this one's actually got one. But anyway, Rick Wakeman's Rock and Roll Prophet album. This is an album that Rick Wakeman himself says that he kind of not sure whether he should have released it or not. Not in this format, at least. Basically, Rick Wakeman, if you don't know, prog rock keyboard player, best known for his work with Yes. He of the Great Big Long Coats. His solo albums include massive sprawling concept works about, he's done the life of Jesus, the wives of Henry VIII, King Arthur. Great big long, the guy does 15-minute keyboard solos. In the late 70s, he wanted to just do something a bit different. He wanted to step down and let his hair down. And he hooked up the idea of the Rock and Roll Prophet album. Now, he didn't want to release it as himself. He wanted to call it a project called Kudos. It would have been a one-off album. Kudos, he was even, I don't think he was even going to use his own name on the record. It was just going to be, this band called Kudos brings out this album called Rock and Roll Prophet, and that was it. Started recording it, but his own record label, which I think at the time would have been Atlantic, kind of, oh no, that's a bit odd. That's a bit odd. You can't have that, Mr. Wakeman. And eventually, he signed a solo deal with this label, Moon Records. Recorded the album, but then when it came to releasing the company turned around and said, "Oh no, you can't call yourself an unnamed name like Kudos. We signed Rick Wakeman, therefore we're going to record it. We're going to release it as Rick Wakeman." And no doubt in the Wakeman household there was a massive face palm. He did bring out the track "I'm So Straight I'm a Weirdo" as a single, which was a minor UK hit, and is quite a quirky little number. It's a bit of fun. Then you've got the album came out, and there was a massive WTF from everyone involved. What is Mr. Wakeman doing? You got an album that sounds a bit like the Buggles. It's commercial. It's almost throwaway pop in places. It's this is Rick Wakeman having fun, and unfortunately the joke not really sticking. Maybe looking back at it with hindsight, you can turn around and see what the guy was trying to do. And I'm not blaming Mr. Wakeman about this. I'm blaming the fact that record labels and management decided to forget this was Kudos and call it a Rick Wakeman album. It is Rick Wakeman does all the stuff himself with just a little bit of percussion and vocal thrown in from some guest people, but It's not bad overall, if you like that. Yeah, if you like Buggles, and all you've got to admit, you know, Jeff Downes' work with Buggles was, you know, back in 1978, 79. They were one of the bands I used to boogie around school discos to. So, you know, not as if I'm anti that kind of music, and it has got its moments. I'm So Straight My Weird, I've already mentioned, a bit of a quirky number. Do You Believe in Fairies? Equally quirky. Rock and Roll Prophet, bit of a kind of electro keyboard freak out, which is quite a good listen. Spy of 55 is also a sweet little number. So it's not without merit, although I would recommend that you know, you go into it with open ears and open minds, because if you go in expecting classic Rick Wakeman, you're in for a rude surprise. So that's the last one for today. 1982, Rock and Roll Prophet by Rick Wakeman. Definitely a try before you buy, but if you're into quirky music, it's worth a listen. So that's it. I apologise for any lighting inconsistencies on this one. Like I said, lighting here today is a nightmare. But, you know, hopefully we've worked, it's not going to be unwatchable. So, thanks for listening, everybody, or watching. There's, if you want to give me feedback on any of the albums, you know, what's your experiences of Rick Wakeman's Rock and Roll Prophet? You know, yeah, kind of, am I wrong about that Raven album? Is it actually the best thing they ever did? Feel free to disagree with me and tell me why I'm wrong. I do like getting involved in a bit of musical debate. So, down there and over there for the for comments, hit a like if you like, and it helps kind of spread the algorithm. And you know, again, radio show details are down there. Have a tune in. You may like what you hear. So until next week, peeps, stay safe, and I'm out of here. Bye.